Prophet Ibrahim, a.s., was born among people who worshipped idols and had forgotten the true path of Allah. From his childhood, Ibrahim, a.s., was different from the people around him and often questioned their beliefs. He looked at the lifeless idols and wondered how objects made of stone could hear prayers or help anyone. His people bowed before statues that they had created with their own hands. Ibrahim, a.s., knew deep in his heart that these idols had no power and could neither benefit nor harm anyone. He began searching for the truth and carefully observed the signs of creation around him. One night, he looked at a bright star shining in the vast sky and reflected deeply. When the star disappeared, Ibrahim, a.s., understood that something which vanishes could not be the true Lord. Then he saw the moon rising beautifully and watched its light spread across the darkness. But when the moon also set, he knew that it too could not be worthy of worship. Later, Ibrahim, a.s., saw the powerful sun rising and filling the earth with brilliant light. When the sun finally disappeared below the horizon, his message to his people became even clearer. Ibrahim, a.s., declared that he rejected everything his people falsely associated with Allah. He turned his heart completely toward the one who created the heavens and the earth. Allah had blessed Ibrahim, a.s., with wisdom, courage, and a powerful understanding of the truth. He was chosen to guide his people away from idol worship and toward the worship of Allah alone. Ibrahim, a.s., began speaking to his father and his people with wisdom and clear reasoning. He asked them why they worshipped idols that could not hear, see, speak, or answer their prayers. His words challenged the traditions that his people had followed blindly for generations. But Ibrahim, a.s., was about to face a dangerous test that would reveal the extraordinary strength of his faith. Ibrahim, a.s., continued inviting his people to worship Allah with patience and kindness. He reminded them that the Creator of the heavens and the earth alone deserved worship. Instead of listening, many people laughed at him and mocked his message. Even his own father refused to accept the truth and remained devoted to idol-making. Ibrahim, a.s., gently warned his father not to follow a path that would lead him away from Allah. His father became angry and threatened to drive him away if he continued speaking against the idols. Despite the harsh words, Ibrahim, a.s., remained respectful and prayed that Allah would guide him. The people became more determined to protect their false beliefs and traditions. A great festival was approaching, and the entire town prepared to celebrate. Everyone planned to leave the city and gather for the celebration. The people invited Ibrahim, a.s., to join them, but he quietly stayed behind. When the town became empty, Ibrahim, a.s., walked toward the place where the idols were kept. He looked at the statues standing silently in rows without any life or power. Food had been placed before the idols as an offering from the people. Ibrahim, a.s., asked the idols, "Why don't you eat? Why don't you speak?" The statues remained completely silent because they had no power at all. At that moment, Ibrahim, as prepared to show his people the truth in a way they would never forget. He lifted an axe with firm faith and unwavering courage. The fate of the idols was about to change forever. The next moment would shock the entire nation and begin one of the most unforgettable events in history. With complete trust in Allah, Ibrahim, a.s., began striking the idols one by one. The lifeless statues shattered into pieces and fell across the floor. Only the largest idol was left standing untouched. Ibrahim, a.s., placed the axe around the neck of the biggest idol. Soon the people returned from their festival and entered the temple. They were horrified to see their idols broken into pieces. Shock quickly turned into anger as they searched for the person responsible. Some people remembered hearing a young man named Ibrahim, a.s., speaking against the idols. They immediately brought Ibrahim, a.s., before the leaders of the town. The crowd gathered, demanding to know who had destroyed their gods. They asked, "Did you do this to our idols, Ibrahim?" Ibrahim, a.s., calmly replied, "Ask the biggest idol if it can speak." The people looked at the large idol, but it remained silent. For a brief moment, they realized that their idols could neither speak nor defend themselves. But instead of accepting the truth, their pride blinded them once again. They refused to admit that they had been worshipping powerless statues. Their anger grew stronger, and they decided to punish Ibrahim, a.s. The leaders gathered together to plan a severe punishment. They wanted to make an example of Ibrahim, as, in front of the entire nation. A terrifying decision was made that would test his faith like never before. The leaders announced that Ibrahim, as, should be punished before all the people. They ordered everyone to collect as much wood as possible for a huge fire. For many days, the people gathered piles of wood from every direction. The fire they prepared became larger than anything the town had ever seen. The flames rose high into the sky, and the heat could be felt from a great distance. No one could go near the fire because of its intense heat. The people believed that this punishment would end Ibrahim's, message forever. But Ibrahim, remained calm, placing all his trust in Allah alone. His heart was filled with faith, not fear. The people tied him securely and prepared to throw him into the blazing fire. Because the flames were too powerful, they built a large catapult to launch him into the fire. As Ibrahim, was placed into the catapult, he continued remembering Allah. At that moment, his faith never weakened, even for a second. He knew that Allah is the best protector and the most powerful. The people watched with confidence, believing they had won. Then Ibrahim, was launched into the middle of the roaring flames. But Allah's power is above every force in the universe. A miraculous command from Allah was about to change everything. The fire itself was about to obey the command of its creator. The next moment would become one of the greatest miracles in history. Allah commanded the fire, "O fire, be coolness and safety for Ibrahim, Immediately, the blazing flames lost their power to burn him. The fire became peaceful by the command of Allah. Everyone watched in complete disbelief. Ibrahim, remained completely safe inside the fire. Not a single part of his body was harmed. His clothes were untouched by the flames. Allah had protected his beloved prophet. The people expected to see destruction, but instead they witnessed a miracle. The miracle proved that Allah alone has absolute power. The idols could not save themselves, let alone anyone else. The crowd stood speechless before this amazing event. Some people recognized the truth in their hearts. Others refused to believe because of their pride. The enemies of Ibrahim, were left completely helpless. Their plan had failed before the power of Allah. Ibrahim, walked out of the fire safely. His faith had become even stronger than before. The miracle became known throughout the land. But greater tests were still waiting for Ibrahim, Although the miracle was clear, most people still rejected the truth. Their hearts remained hardened against the message of Allah. Only a few people accepted Ibrahim, as a true prophet. Among them was his nephew, Lut, Lut, believed in Allah with complete sincerity. Ibrahim, thanked Allah for guiding the believers. He knew that guidance comes only from Allah. The opposition against him continued to grow. Living among idol worshippers became increasingly difficult. Allah inspired Ibrahim, to leave his homeland. He was ready to sacrifice everything for his faith. He trusted Allah without hesitation. His journey was not for wealth or comfort. It was a journey to preserve the truth. Ibrahim, left behind his home and his people. He believed Allah would guide every step. His migration became an example of complete faith. Allah never abandons those who trust him. A new chapter of his life was about to begin. His mission was spreading far beyond his homeland. Ibrahim, traveled from one land to another with faith. Everywhere he went, he called people to worship Allah alone. Some listened with respect. Others rejected his message. Still, Ibrahim, never gave up. He remained patient through every hardship. Allah continued blessing him with wisdom. His noble character impressed many people. He always spoke with kindness and honesty. He never forced anyone to believe. Instead, he invited them with wisdom. His life became an example of sincerity. People saw his trust in Allah. His courage inspired the believers. Every challenge increased his faith. Allah protected him wherever he traveled. His mission continued successfully. His name became respected among many nations. He never stopped calling toward the truth. Allah was preparing him for another great test. As the years passed, Ibrahim, grew older. Yet he still had no children. He sincerely prayed to Allah for a righteous son. His prayers were filled with hope. Allah always hears the prayers of his servants. One day, Allah gave him wonderful news. He would be blessed with a son. The news filled his heart with gratitude. He praised Allah with humility. Soon, his son Ismail, a.s., was born. Ibrahim, a.s., loved his son deeply. He thanked Allah every day. Ismail, as, grew into a righteous child. He learned obedience and patience. His family lived with strong faith. They remembered Allah in every situation. Their home was filled with peace. Allah had special plans for them. Another unforgettable test was approaching. This test would become famous throughout history. One night, Ibrahim, a.s., saw a dream. The dream was a command from Allah. He was instructed to sacrifice his beloved son. The command was extremely difficult, but prophets always obey Allah. Ibrahim, a.s., shared the dream with Ismail, a.s. Ismail, a.s., listened with complete faith. He replied with patience and courage. He said that if Allah had commanded it, he would remain steadfast. The father and son trusted Allah completely. Together they prepared to fulfill the command. Neither of them complained. Their faith was stronger than their emotions. This was one of the greatest examples of submission. They walked together toward the place of sacrifice. Every step reflected their obedience. The angels witnessed their sincerity. Allah knew the strength of their faith. A great mercy from Allah was about to appear. History was about to witness another unforgettable miracle. When everything was ready, Ibrahim, a.s., prepared to obey Allah's command. At that very moment, Allah stopped him. The test had been successfully completed. Allah accepted their perfect obedience. A magnificent ram was sent from paradise. It was sacrificed in place of Ismail, a.s. Ismail, a.s., remained completely safe. Allah rewarded both father and son. Their faith became an example for all generations. The sacrifice showed the true meaning of submission. Allah honored Ibrahim, a.s., with great blessings. He became known as the friend of Allah. His legacy continues through millions of believers. The ritual of sacrifice reminds Muslims of this great event. His story teaches faith, patience, and obedience. Every trial brought him closer to Allah. His name is remembered with respect around the world. His life remains an inspiration for humanity. Peace and blessings be upon Prophet Ibrahim, a.s. His remarkable story continues to inspire believers until today. After the great test, Allah increased the honor of Ibrahim, a.s. His heart was filled with gratitude and peace. Allah blessed him with countless rewards. People began to recognize his unwavering faith. His obedience became an example for every believer. Allah promised to make him a leader for mankind. Ibrahim, a.s., remained humble despite this great honor. He continued calling people toward the worship of Allah alone. He never sought fame or worldly power. His only goal was to please his Creator. He prayed constantly for his family. He asked Allah to keep them firm upon the truth. Allah accepted many of his sincere supplications. His descendants would include many prophets. This was a special blessing from Allah. His mission continued with patience and wisdom. Every day, he thanked Allah for his mercy. His life reflected complete trust in Allah. His story inspired everyone who believed. Another historic mission was about to begin. Allah commanded Ibrahim, a.s., to travel with Ismail, a.s. They journeyed to the barren valley of Mecca. The valley had no rivers or crops. Very few people lived there. It seemed impossible to survive. Yet Ibrahim, a.s., obeyed Allah without hesitation. He left Hajar and Ismail, a.s., there. Hajar asked why he was leaving them alone. Ibrahim, a.s., remained silent at first. Then she asked, "Has Allah commanded you to do this?" He answered, "Yes." She replied, "Then Allah will never abandon us." Her faith was as strong as Ibrahim's, a.s. Ibrahim, a.s., walked away with tears in his eyes. He prayed for the safety of his family. He asked Allah to provide for them. He prayed that people would love this place. Allah accepted his sincere prayer. The empty valley would soon become one of the holiest places on earth. Soon the water they had with them ran out. Baby Ismail, a.s., became thirsty. Hajar searched desperately for water. She climbed the hill of Safa. She looked across the valley, but found nothing. Then she ran to the hill of Marwa. Again she searched with hope. She ran between the two hills 7 times. Her trust in Allah never faded. Allah saw her patience and struggle. Then Angel Jibreel, appeared by Allah's command. A spring of water burst from the ground. It flowed beside Ismail, a.s. This blessed water became known as Zamzam. Hajar thanked Allah with joy. The water never stopped flowing. Travelers soon discovered the spring. Life returned to the empty valley. The miracle of Zamzam continues until today. As the years passed, Mecca began to grow. Families settled near the blessed Zamzam well. Ismail, as grew into a noble young man. He learned honesty, patience, and faith. One day Ibrahim, as returned to visit his family. The reunion was filled with happiness. Father and son thanked Allah together. Allah then gave them another great command. They were instructed to build the Kaaba. Together they raised its strong foundations. They worked side by side with sincerity. Every stone was placed for the sake of Allah. They prayed that Allah would accept their efforts. Their hearts were full of humility. The Kaaba became the first house built for the worship of Allah. It would remain a place of guidance for all believers. Millions would one day visit it. Their work became a lasting legacy. The blessings of the Kaaba continue forever. As they completed the Kaaba, Ibrahim, and Ismail, made a heartfelt prayer. They asked Allah to accept their deeds. They prayed for a faithful Muslim nation. They asked Allah to send a messenger among their descendants. Allah accepted their sincere supplication. Generations later, Prophet Muhammad was sent. This fulfilled the prayer of Ibrahim, Allah commanded Ibrahim, to call people for Hajj. He announced the invitation by Allah's command. Allah made his call reach hearts across generations. People from every nation continue answering that call. They gather in Mecca every year. They worship Allah alone. The life of Ibrahim, became a symbol of faith and sacrifice. His story teaches complete trust in Allah. His legacy lives on through Hajj and the Kaaba. Believers remember his devotion with love and respect. Peace and blessings be upon Prophet Ibrahim, His example will continue inspiring humanity until the last day. The end.